Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today we're going to talk about the soul work. I've had several of you ask me, what is soul work? What does that mean when we keep hearing that we need to do the soul work? We need to do things that are aligning us back with the soul and things like that. So let's just touch on that briefly here in this video. So in regard to doing soul work, like the soul isn't asking you to do work. The soul isn't saying, okay, it's time to do the soul work now. You know, it's time to do soul stuff now. Or you need to work on your soul now. The ascension process is not about working on your soul or trying to heal your soul or trying to, you know, reconnect your soul. Ascension is about dropping the things that are keeping your vibration in a third dimensional paradigm of separation, consciousness, and lack and fear, right? So the soul is experiencing this 3D separation experience, right? That's all fine and good. And in order to come out of this 3D separation experience and for your vibration to rise and you to come back into the fifth dimensional frequency of unity consciousness and for you to come back into inner union, basically it just means that you need to drop all of the things that are holding you in that separation consciousness, in that separation frequency, right? So it's all the fear-based energies. These are the things that hold our vibration in a lower state of consciousness. So the ascension process, when we're looking at it, is saying like, I need to do soul work now. What am I trying to do? It's basically saying when we're experiencing the 3D, when we're experiencing separation, it's like basically we're holding a cork underwater, right? You know how corks are really buoyant, they're made of cork, and so they weigh basically nothing. And if you hold them underwater, you can keep them there if you hold them, but as soon as you let a cork go, it's going to bob right back up to the surface of the water because it's light, right? It doesn't have that lower density, right? If you drop a rock, the rock's going to fall all the way down to the bottom of the lake. But if you do a cork, it's always going to come back up to the surface. It's always going to be buoyant and go back up to the natural lightness state that it is. Well, you as a soul, you as consciousness, you as a spark of God's soul, God source creation is the same, right? We had to descend in order to experience the 3D reality of separation. So all we're really doing when we're talking about evolving in consciousness, raising in vibration, and going through the ascension process is letting go of the cork so that bobs right back up to the surface of the water. You are lightness. That's what you are. That's what you've always been, right? You are higher consciousness. You are source. You are a spark of creation. You are that. We are just experiencing separation. We are experiencing a lower density vibration as we are moving through the 3D material world. So it's not that you have to do anything to come back to the soul and to the source and to the consciousness that you are. It's that you have to release the things that you're not. And that's it. You know, the experiences that we've had for our growth, for our learning, for our expansion, all of that stuff, these are all valid, they all mattered, right? They're all experiences that we all individually came here to have. But those souls, you know, they, just like those souls, those experiences, you know, they get recorded into your soul records. They get recorded into your Akashic records. You're not leaving them behind, right? So when we say that we're releasing these things, when we say that we're, you know, releasing this trauma, releasing this karma, you know, there's still a record of all of this going on. When you leave this reality, you know, when you leave this reality and you ascend out of earth, right? You pass away, you die, whatever we want to say, the body dies. all of the memories that you had in this lifetime and all the experiences, and all of the memories and the experiences that you've had in every single solitary other lifetime, and every planetary system, every galaxy, every dimension, whatever we want to say, because we are multidimensional beings, you remember all of that. You don't lose it. It doesn't go anywhere, because it is a part of your experience as soul, as source, as creation. These are parts of your experience for the expansion and the growth. So when we say that we're like releasing things, that we're letting things go, all it really means is that these experiences that we had served us well while we were having them. But now the soul is asking and source is asking, okay, it's time to have new experiences that are in a higher vibratory state, right? This is what the 5D frequency, 5D union, 5D world, 5D earth is about. It's having new experiences at a higher vibration, right? At a soul's vibration and higher. So we're not necessarily doing soul work, because the soul isn't broken, right? The soul isn't like damaged. The soul doesn't have anything that it's trying to like fix or repair. So it isn't soul work. The same as when I say, you know, we're doing shadow work or inner work. It's not work. It feels like work. We perceive it. The mind perceives it as work. But all we're really doing is shifting in vibration. All we're really doing is learning how to transmute energy, learning to honor the experiences that we've had, to love them with all that we are, to embrace every aspect of us, to completely embrace all of our shadows, right? All of our traumas, all of our karmas. To embrace these things as the experiences that we have had for our soul's growth and for our learning and for our expansion. So we're not letting them go. We're honoring every aspect of us, right? We're not pushing it aside. We're not tamping it down. We're not thinking, right? We're not ignoring our emotion. We're not spiritually bypassing anything. We're honoring every single solitary aspect of us through every timeline that we have experienced, every lifetime that we have experienced. We're honoring our path and we're honoring everyone else's path. This is what unconditional love is, right? I'm embracing all of me. So if we really want to call that work, then I guess that we can call that work. But really, it's not soul work. It's not shadow work. It's not inner work. It's actually love. It's actually, I'm loving every single part of me, even the parts that before I felt were abandoned, or I felt like I didn't like, or I felt like I had pushed away or tamped down or swallowed back or didn't want to talk about, and all of these sort of things. This is what we're doing on this path, right? And so even though I'm saying that we're releasing those lower vibratory states, it's not saying that you're releasing the experience. It's not saying that you're releasing the memory. It's saying that you're releasing the trauma or the density or the karma density that is related to those experiences, right? It's the lower vibration that we attach to or that we identify with that has to do with those experiences that we've taken on, you know, in childhood, however that works, whatever things that we've experienced that we don't necessarily like, and that we have, you know, been programmed into our subconscious mind, and we keep playing that over and over again, wondering why our reality keeps looking the same way. We're not releasing those experiences. We're releasing the attachment to those experiences and the heavy vibratory energy that is attached to those experiences. Those experiences will be with you for eternity, right? You're an eternal being. You are infinite, and everything that you experience will always be a part of what you are. So you aren't letting it go in a way that it's just gone and it's just never going to come back again, and you're never going to, you know, have that experience or that awareness, or I hated that and that sucked and I just never want to deal with it again. No, we're embracing everything with unconditional love, without judgment of self, without judgment of other, without blame of self, without blame of other. Just unconditionally loving of this. These are the experiences that I had. These are the experiences that this person had. I'm not judging them. I'm honoring them for what they were, right? A lot of times we don't have the awareness to understand why we have experienced the things that we've experienced. And so we judge them as bad, right? Or we judge them as good. And we a lot of times do that for other people as well. Judge that, what they're going through is negative, or if they would only like fix this or get their shit together and whatever else. But we don't know what their soul's path is. We don't know why they're experiencing the things that they're experiencing. We don't know what their growth or their expansion is in this lifetime. And so when we have that awareness and we just are saying like, I honor your path and I honor my path, and I don't have to understand it with the mind, because it's not about the mind. It's about the soul and what the soul is choosing to experience, right? For its highest good, for its highest timeline, right? That's the thing. And so sometimes that'll feel like shit, that we feel like we're judging something because we don't have the awareness, the higher awareness, the conscious awareness, that sometimes these experiences that we're having that we judged as bad are actually for our higher good. Not only for us, but for other. And so when we're talking about doing this sort of soul work, we're not saying like, okay, I always have to stay in neutrality and I can't feel anymore and I can't think anymore, and all of these sort of narratives, right? That's not what it is. It's that you're evolving. You are ascending, right? You are raising in vibration. You are raising in consciousness. If you are experiencing this path, that means that you're going through a spiritual awakening, which means at this point, the more that you shift and the more that you ascend, the more that unconditional love starts to become what you are again. The more that the separation between you and other begins to collapse, the more that the separation within self begins to collapse. So we stop compartmentalizing the aspects of us that we like and versus the aspects of us that we don't like, right? And we start merging these back into one again. We start loving all the aspects of ourself again. We start honoring all the aspects of other again and the paths that they walk, right? And so in this way, it's not that we're doing like work that's trying to like bring us back up in ascension or bring us back up in vibration. No, it's saying that I recognize that I have had these experiences that I have labeled as negative, as traumatic, as lower vibration or whatever else. And so since I have labeled these that way, or since I have perceived them that way, or since they came through in that way from an inner child wounding, I have those belief systems now in my subconscious, right? All fine. But the ascension process is saying you can release those belief systems that you have attached to these experiences now, right? You don't have to continue to hold on to those. You can have the awareness now that you can just see all these aspects through the lens of soul, through the lens of source that doesn't judge, that doesn't blame, and that doesn't see good or bad, that only sees love and the experience of love and the experiences that we're having for our expansion, right? And the experiences that we're having for our expansion in this reality are duality based, because we come from oneness. So we don't experience duality in the higher planes. We don't experience duality in higher consciousness. And so the soul wanting to have that experience is having that experience, right? If you don't know what good or bad is, if you don't know what colors are, what, all of these things are, black and white, on and off, back and forth, up and down, in and out, right? These are experiences that we came to have. But we come from oneness, which means we are naturally unconditionally loving beings. We are naturally beings that come from higher dimensions that are not in that place of feeling, well, I have to do the work now in order to ascend, and I have to do the soul work and all the soul stuff in order to make myself feel like I'm good enough to actually ascend. I hear this as well, maybe I failed on this path. Maybe this isn't cut out for me. Maybe I'm not strong enough to go through the awakening. All of these sort of things that are coming from that ego mind of those conditionings that are saying, I'm wounded and I'm broken, and so therefore I can't really do this, or maybe in the next life this is too hard, and all of these sort of things. So having that awareness that that's not at all what you are, but that's certainly what ego tries to tell us that we are. And so we have this thing that we're like, you know, as soon as we like do this, go down this rabbit hole and do this work and get this certification and do this thing and do this other thing and do this thing. And we're still wondering, like, you know, I've said this in other videos, we still get into that place where you're just like, am I missing something? Are there blind spots? I've done all of the work, right? I've done all of the work. So why am I still not in inner union? Or do I feel like I'm still going back and forth, you know, within balancing? Or why am I still getting triggered? Because I've done all of the work. And so this is when this path becomes that slippery slope. But when you get to that point where you realize that you have done every single solitary thing that the mind has been saying that you need to do, right? And all of those things are fine as well. But you do get to the point on this path that you realize it's not about the work. It's not about the shadow work anymore. It's not about the inner work. It's not about soul work. It's about reaching for the highest vibration that is you. It's about aligning back into the actual vibration that is you, which means honoring all the experiences that you had with love, embracing them, calling them back to you, right? It's honoring the path that you're on. It's honoring the life that you live and the experiences that you have. It isn't about doing things that are difficult in order to raise your vibration. It's about seeing everything and facing everything with a vulnerable ability to just love. To just love. And I know that that sounds crazy on some level. And when we're in that point of feeling like we're going round and round and this is just really hard and I just want things to show up in this certain way so that I can feel better, what I'm saying can feel super, super triggering to the wounds and to the ego and all of those sort of things. And having that awareness that we need to keep our heart chakra open all the time and just continue to keep it open and continue to keep it open, that can also feel very foreign. It can feel like, you mean I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable now, which means I'm allowing myself to get hurt. But what it really means is that you're strengthening your connection to source. You're strengthening your connection to soul. You're strengthening your connection to what you truly are, which is higher consciousness, which is a higher vibration. It's when we shut the heart space down and when we start compartmentalizing ourselves and separating ourselves between the things that we like and the things that we don't like within, instead of just embracing all of these things with love, that the heart chakra loses that connection and starts to feel again like the self is separate within and without, right? So this path isn't really about doing work necessarily. We call it that potentially because we don't have another word, but really it's about shifting into love, even when that's a scary thing to do. And it doesn't mean romantic love when I say that. I'm saying like the frequency of love, the frequency of source that is not judging, that is not blaming, right? That's just allowing things to be what they are. That's honoring everyone's path. That's honoring your own path, right? Without feeling like you have to like change it or shift it. It's like allowing yourself to see what is in front of me, what's coming up for me, allowing yourself to transmute these emotions, allowing yourself to feel, right? Allowing yourself to shift back into the true vibratory resonance of what you are as pure source consciousness. So hopefully that resonates, guys. Hopefully that makes some sense. I hope you guys have an awesome day.